Internet. This is Sophia. As you probably know by now, Senator Bernie Sanders has suspended his presidential campaign for 2020. Sure enough, many Never Biden people are coming out of the woodwork. Of course, we knew about them before, but now they're becoming really vocal now that Sanders is no longer campaigning. Of course, when people like me tell those people that they really need to put their distaste for Biden aside and vote for him anyways because he now is the clear Democratic nominee, we get portrayed as though we're some kinds of entitled jerk faces. So the subject of this video is about why that is a really unfair portrayal and why they really do now need to support Biden. And the truth is that many, many, many people's lives depend on ousting from the presidency the orangutan in chief, what's his face?
Donald Trump, the most dangerous president in modern American history.
Thanks, Bernie Sanders. By the way, that clip is from his speech in which he announced the suspension of his campaign. By the way, if you think that I have no idea about the difficulty of what I'm asking just because I was supporting Biden when it was down to him and Sanders, let me tell you, you're absolutely wrong. Because even though at that point I was backing Biden, he was not my first choice and not my second choice and not really even my third choice. At the start of the campaign season, I was 100% behind Kamala Harris. When she ceased to be a viable candidate, it was then that I shifted my support to Elizabeth Warren, and only once she dropped out that I switched my support to Biden. Also, there are other candidates that I would have preferred over Biden, except that they were out of the picture before Warren was. I should probably also note that I voted for Sanders in the 2016 primary, and the reason why this time around I didn't back him when it was between him and Biden is really just about electability. And I will explain in just a little bit why I believe that there is really no chance that he would have made it through the general election if he received the nomination. But as for why I let that have such a strong factor in determining who I backed when it was down to him and Biden, the reason is because I am really that terrified of what another 4 years of Trump could bring. The policy differences between Sanders and Biden simply were not enough to override the fact that Sanders would have no chance of beating Trump in the general election, while Biden just might. Sorry to disappoint y'all, but there's a lot of voters out there who would normally defect from Trump after the train wreck he's been doing the last few years, but who would never vote for someone who proudly identifies himself as a socialist. And true, analysts who have examined his positions point out that he isn't really a socialist, but a social democrat. However, he still calls himself a socialist. And furthermore, Republican propagandists have shown that they are very adept at branding social democrats as socialists, even when they don't call themselves that. But I can already hear y'all saying, we already tried nominating a Sanders back in 2016. How did that go? No. Do not compare Biden to Hillary Clinton. No, Hillary Clinton was an incompetent campaigner who took things for granted and therefore neglected key areas that she should have paid attention to in her campaign. And then there's other reasons why that's a bogus comparison, but all that's a subject for another video. The point is, there is no way that Bernie Sanders would have beat Donald Trump in the general election, but Biden might actually have a chance, assuming that enough people realize the importance of defeating Donald Trump even if the Democratic nominee isn't the one whom they would prefer it be. Anyway, the point that I was trying to make is that even though I'm not right now having to come to terms with the fact that the primary didn't go the way I'd like it to go, that I still did have to come to terms with that fact. So I understand that it is a bummer and that you don't like the fact that the person who won the nomination isn't the one you'd like to vote for. And I perfectly understand how you are a bit upset about that. However, even though this is a bummer, this is the kind of bummer that we have both a practical and a moral obligation to accept and to work within, because that is the only way that we can unseat Donald Trump from office, which is something that we need to do because he is
the most dangerous president in modern American history.
Now, one thing that many people in the Never Biden camp bring up is the sexual assault allegations that were brought against Joe Biden. When I express any skepticism at all about those allegations, they proudly proclaim that they will believe the woman no matter what and assert that I ought to be doing the same thing. I definitely agree that we need to take sexual assault allegations seriously, and that society has historically had a problem of failing to do so, and even still has that problem. However, there is a huge difference between taking allegations seriously and uncritically believing the allegation every time, no matter what, because that is a guilty until proven so attitude, and it is wrong to assume that somebody must be guilty of a crime just because they have been accused of it without any examination, no matter what the crime is, including sexual assault, and that is even in ordinary times. And these aren't even ordinary times. I mean, think about this for just a moment. Think. Do you really think that it would be beneath the Trump campaign and the kinds of people who are known to back it to plant false allegations against the Democratic nominee if they could? And then ask yourself, really honestly, I mean, just think for a second, do you really think that these ruthless people wouldn't be able to find someone who has the right optics, who they could somehow either pay or muscle or something in order to get them to be the mouthpiece of such a false accusation that they want to plant? Does that mean that these allegations are definitely false? No, it does not, but it does mean that you really shouldn't just blankly accept them as must be true automatically. It's not like Joe Biden was caught on tape bragging about grabbing women's, which, by the way, in case you forgot, Donald Trump was. And then there's all who say, oh, just because Trump does worse doesn't mean we should excuse what Biden does. Let me remind you that if you go along with that line of thinking, that will result in Trump being excused for much worse. Let that sink in. That means even if the allegations of sexual assault against Biden are true, which is a worst case scenario, even if they are true, the line of thing like saying that we can't let him off the hook just because Trump is worse will, whether we like it or not, result in Trump getting off the hook for a lot worse. And I'm sure that some people will accuse me of being insensitive of the plight of survivors of sexual assault. Yeah, like I'm sure that what could really help them is having more Kavanaughs on the Supreme Court, which, by the way, is one of the things that will happen if Trump gets another term in office. Not to mention many other people who are completely innocent of what Joe Biden may or may not have even done, who will suffer, and many of them even die if Trump gets another term. How dare you be inconsiderate of that reality? Of course, even if tomorrow the allegations are proven to be completely false, not just not proven to be true, but actually proven to be false, there are still real and legitimate reasons why many people will be very disappointed about the fact that Joe Biden now clearly is the Democratic nominee. However, if you let anything be a reason for you to withhold your support from him now, you are contributing to the probability of Trump winning the general election in the year 2020. And then, if he subsequently does win, then everything that he does with his second term is on you, and it would be much better if you wake up to that reality now, because enough people waking up to that reality now is what is needed to prevent that from happening. Now, while this time I really had to lay it all bare without giving a flying about whether or not you are offended by what I say, I still do hope that you enjoyed this video. Anyways, thumbs up, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to this channel, comment below, and share this video with your friends. And until next time, see ya!